Ladies and gentlemen of the Joint Assembly and honored guests, I'm proud to present to you the Honorable James E. Koutz, National Commander of the American Legion.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the 2.4 million Legionnaires around the world and nearly 200 Legion posts throughout the state of South Carolina, I want to thank each of you for what you do for our men and women who serve our military, our veterans of past wars. Ladies and gentlemen, South Carolina may be known as a palmetto state, but I prefer to think it as the home of heroes. In fact, I was able to visit with some yesterday at Fort Jackson. While we hear so much about our wounded warriors recovering in places like Landstuhl, Germany, and at Walter Reed Medical Center, it's easy to overlook some of the smaller warrior transition units, like the one at Fort Jackson. Where our delegation witnessed there was a compassionate and dedicated staff of professionals that work every day to improve the spirits and the physical well-being of the men and women who just not borne our battles in war, but may have been injured or struck with illness while serving their country in garrison. And while nobody questions the dedication of the medical and transition staff, our federal government does not provide enough resources to provide the quality of life that these heroes truly deserve. That is why the American Legion's Operation Comfort Warriors program exists. Not to replace the basics of the Department of Defense provides, nobody could do that, but our program tries to provide the fun stuff, gift cards, recreational equipment, family outings, things that often don't show up in the government budgets. On Sunday, we purchased thousands of dollars worth of basketballs, archery equipment, baseball gear, golfing equipment, and other sporting goods for the Fort Jackson Warrior Transition Unit. Some of the equipment will be adapted specifically for the use of people with disabilities. The good people at Dick's Sporting Goods here in Columbia were terrific in accommodating our request. And when they heard about the cause, even added a contribution of their own. That is an important example of how can-do spirit of cooperation that often exists when citizens and the business community come together to support an outstanding cause. Operation Comfort Warriors will not necessarily change the lives of our wounded, ill, or injured veterans, but it will make their day. And even more importantly, it shows them that we care and appreciate their service and sacrifice for this nation. And sacrifice is something that this state knows all too well. The nation mourned with you last June when 3 South Carolina National Guard soldiers were killed and 5 injured by a suicide bomber in Afghanistan. Your state adjutant general summed it up perfectly when he said, "These deaths are grim reminders that our military, to include South Carolina National Guard, is still active in combat in defense of our country. We are privileged to have such heroes among our midst." The terrorist who committed this heinous act attacked a crowd marketplace and killed 14 civilians, 2 police officers in addition to the brave men from your state. One of the fallen soldiers, First Lieutenant Ryan Davis Raw, was a Richland County Sheriff's deputy. The sheriff described him as a shining star. Specialist John Metter was also killed in an attack. His 13-year-old daughter, Brianna, told the local news channel, "He was my daddy, and I'll never forget him." The other fallen hero, Sergeant First Class Matthew Brad Thomas of Easley, was only 30 years old and left behind a young son. All of these men were fathers and husbands. They were remembered by hundreds of family members and friends who loved them. The best way to honor heroes like these are not with granite memorials, although that is appropriate and appreciated. But what they would really want is that their neighbors and friends to ensure that the families are taken care of. And very close to that is ensuring the well-being of their extended families, their brothers and sisters in arms. Those who may have been wounded or might have fallen upon difficult times as they return from war and try to readjust to society. There are ways to do this, big and small. Tax breaks and other inducements for businesses to hire veterans are a good start. Breaks in college tuition and scholarships for the children of veterans is another great and meaningful way to show appreciation. Veterans have gone strenuous training, performed in high-stress environments, and bring a set of skills and discipline from which many employers and communities can truly benefit. We hear a lot about our national debt, and there's no doubt that is a huge problem. But let me tell you about another debt. It's a debt owed to those who have paid costs that have often included long separations from families, missing the births of their children, freezing in sub-zero temperatures, exposures to Agent Orange in Vietnam, losing limbs, and far too often losing their lives. While America owes a debt that cannot be fully repaid, showing our appreciation is the least that we can do. Finally, I would be remiss if I did not express my appreciation to this great legislative body for your work in recognizing one veteran status at their South Carolina driver's license. Most veterans like me served time but did not make the military a career. Many businesses want to express their appreciation for veterans by offering discounts on goods and services. Veterans don't typically walk around carrying their discharge papers or DD-214s. If you are not retired from military, you no longer carry a military ID. This is one of the many reasons why we recognize on the driver's license important and was strongly supported by the American Legion, Department of South Carolina, and I hope more states follow your example. This idea was conceived by Director Metcalf and sponsored by Representative Hexon and Senator Odell. My theme as commander of the American Legion is every day is Veterans Day. From what I've seen while visiting your beautiful state is that most of the people of South Carolina agree.